in the UK here, obviously, a lot of people are very, very welcoming of a rate cut. I think it's 1.6 million households this year will come to the end of their current fixed rate deals. How pressed do you think, particularly the middle classes, are at the moment in terms of their finances?
Horribly pressed. I mean, first of all, it's the same old story. It's rip off Britain, isn't it? Most of the world, you get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. We don't worry about this kind of nonsense, but it's the greedy banks and the government and the regulators like Mr. Bailey, that like the Treasury, that go along with them and let them play this game where even a fixed rate mortgage is only for 3 years or 5 years. I mean, in America, you buy a house. If the guy who owns the house has got a particularly good mortgage deal and you would qualify for a mortgage at his lender, he can even pass you his mortgage to take over at a lower than market rate and increase the price of the house. It's just standard stuff. There's no explanation, no reason for why we're not doing it. So I think that times are going to be tough until they start to bring rates down. And when they do, by the way, there's no guarantee that the mortgage lenders will also bring their rates down any more than there's a guarantee that when rates go up, as they have, that they're going to pass on a fair proportion of that to people with savings. And remember, James, there are 7 times more savers than there are people with mortgages. So everybody is getting, a pretty raw deal from the financial sector, and this government is supporting it. It's the highest tax government there is. I also want to say something that I've been talking about everywhere. We really expected some honest tax cuts in the budget. I didn't. I'm cynical. I knew we wouldn't get them. The net effect, I mean, Sunak and Hunt are crowing about the tax cuts they've given us once again, as they did in the autumn statement. But just as then, we're actually paying more tax because they haven't moved the tax threshold. So the truth is that somebody on £17,000 a year is actually, as of Wednesday, paying £47.29 more per month in tax than he was on Tuesday. That's the net effect of this wonderful budget that these great guys are crowing about that they've given us. Why haven't they made real tax cuts? Because we're broke. The OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, which the political editor of the Times has identified as a bunch of lefty economists, they say we don't have a lot of money. Well, the truth is, and this was exposed recently by Richard Tice, the leader of the Reform Party, and backed up by a number of leading economists, we are paying 40 billion pounds to ourselves from one pocket to another with the interest that the government is paying on the quantitative easing, the printed money, the hundreds and hundreds of billions of money they printed and dumped into the economy, which also fueled inflation. We're paying interest on that of 40 billion a year. Switzerland doesn't pay any interest. The European Central Bank doesn't pay any interest. All kinds of other countries don't engage and indulge in this ridiculous fantasy of paying interest from one pocket to another. But our government is counting that as a real debt of ours and saying, therefore, we don't have enough money. Well, hey, what do you think? Take a guess. I'll give you one guess. What is the cost of moving the tax threshold from £12,570 to £20,000, thus protecting pensioners and lower earners, the people the Tories don't really care about because they're not going to vote for them anyway? How much do you think that will cost per year? 40 billion.
40 billion. Yeah, absolutely. So, I know that this is one of the policies which I do love about Reform UK. But listen, Roger, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for that absolutely fantastic insight there. We'll have to get you back on the Freeman Report at some point. I've been talking about the problem with fiscal drag all week. The government gives with one hand and it takes silently and stealthily with the other. Yeah.
They're now calling Jezza the fiscal drag queen.
Brilliant. I haven't heard that before. That is absolutely brilliant. Roger Gewald, thank you so much for coming on. We'll get you back on soon. Thank you, Roger.